I'd like to bring in now Sean Van Sommeran. He is the Executive Director and CEO of Pelagic Shark Research Foundation. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate having you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Well, it's a pleasure. Are these numbers, why are these numbers increasing? Let's start there, if you don't mind.
Part of it is observer bias. Just all the electronics, phones, GoPros, drones, that is lending itself to more shark sightings being documented and shared on social media and television and the internet, etc. Additionally, there's been a shift north of juvenile white sharks in particular in regards to this case. Since around 2014, 2015, it became rather conspicuous here in Monterey Bay, which has been famous for larger adult white sharks since the days of whaling. Juveniles were, up until around 2000 or so, more or less relegated to Baja and San Diego, with some periodic, low number of presence, north of there, rarely above Point Conception. They became more or less common off of Malibu, 2004, 2005, and it kind of settled there so far as anyone could tell. Boating traffic, air traffic, drones have increased in abundances, as well as people just go to the beach, boating, etc. And that lends itself to it. 2015, we had a big group of juvenile white sharks move into Monterey Bay, and they've been gathering up in what is an area that's been termed Shark Park. And with such numbers and consistency on a seasonal basis that we're actually running tour boats
out to those areas to see. I can imagine that some people are terrified by this, I would think, certainly vacation goers. Are you thinking that, is this a real threat to people who are headed to these shores?
Not specifically. Statistics for people simply falling off the cliffs and accidental drownings and, boating accidents, surfing accidents, those are all rising at far steeper rates, in keeping with, increased use of the coastal areas, for recreation, primarily. These are juvenile white sharks. It's the only real potentially hazardous shark we have around here. And at this, under 10-foot long range, they're not really interested in eating larger prey. That's kind of a transitional, time frame, generationally for them. They're eating mostly fish, other sharks, rays, skates. And then once they get around that 9, 10 feet, 12-foot range, they begin to, include marine mammals. And, the adults are certainly, a hazard, as are bears, in national parks. That kind of thing. Statistically, it's still really a minuscule number of attacks. It's obvious that if these animals were looking to bite humans, they'd be biting them all day long, every day, especially during the summer. So I don't think that's a realistic concern. It is a wild animal. You don't want to provoke them. You can get bit by an otter or a sea lion, as well. You can increase your chances. But I don't see those as a risk. The adult sharks do on occasion, bite people. Rarely there are, fatal injuries. It's never good to be bitten by a big, 700-pound predator.
Well, that's certainly a relief, I would think, to vacation goers and to the general public. So we certainly appreciate your insight on this. This is something interesting. The patterns are interesting, and we'll continue to follow it. Thank you, Sean, for joining us tonight.
Local lifeguards and park rangers. They'll fill you in.
Sounds great. Thank you for your insight tonight.
Okay.